It's your boy Big Rich. We about to do a tutorial on these beats, yo. How to enhance your sound. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we're gonna focus on the sample. We're gonna focus on the drums and the instruments that come with it. We're gonna get it and give it. Yo, what's going on, man? It's your boy Big Rich right here, clowning as usual. Boy, I feel embarrassed. Anyway, man, that's why I stick to producing and engineering. I don't fuck around with rapping, bro. That ain't my forte. But anyway, man, you know what I'm saying? Welcome back to another tutorial, man. We're gonna just I'm gonna run through this Ableton Live beat that I did this week, and I just wanted to point out some things right here that I thought would be useful, and I wanted to get back on tutorials and stuff like that and stuff. So I hope y'all find this useful. So let's get up in here anyway, man. Let me quit clowning. So in this tutorial, man, pretty much what we got going on is it's a sample based beat. You know what I'm saying? We got the sample, we got the drums, and then we have 4 acoustic instruments that I added in there. Not acoustically, like real acoustic, but you know what I'm saying, emulations of acoustic instruments that we added in there to get the beat life or whatnot. Now to get in here, I do have a sample, and the reason why I wanted to focus on the sample first is because if you ever have a sample and you work with it and you got it where you got it in your record, right? All right, and you want to bring out that sample because it sounds dead, it just sounds slow moving or whatnot, but you wanted to make it sound the way it does in today's world. Well, I have two, I actually not two, but I have 2 instances of this sample, but I have one common plugin, and on both of these 2 instances of these samples, there's the same plugin but different presets. Now the first one I'm gonna show you, it dances around, and the second one I'm gonna show you, it actually gives it a little bit of brightness to it. That way the sample has different distinguishes between the hook and the verse. Okay, so the first one I'm gonna play you is gonna be in the hook, and I'm gonna turn the plugins off. Okay, I'm gonna turn the plugins off, and I'm gonna let y'all check it out. Now in this sample, it's a whole sample. You know what I'm saying? It's a full sample. Okay, it's gonna loop. You know what I'm saying, for 8 bars. But in this sample right here, I only got it looping half of the sample, just to give it, you know what I'm saying, that verse feel, you know what I'm saying, just like when you hit it on the MPC or whatnot. Okay, now on this first sample right here, I'm gonna pull up the plugin and I'm gonna bypass it for you guys, and this is gonna go into the hook. Okay, all right, so let's turn this plugin off and let's hit play. And as you notice, the sample sounds good by itself, but yet still dead. Now, when I bring all the other instruments in there, you're gonna notice what this plugin does with the other instruments. It gives it that vibe. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna buzz out freestyling, but you know what I'm saying, but this is how you can manipulate samples and get them grooving and vibing with your other productions. Now what I just did with that plugin, the Camel Fat 3, is gonna make sense once I bring all the other instruments in. Now the second one I'm gonna play you, and let me just get this plugin out the way. The second one I'm gonna play for you is more enhancing the sound, bringing it a little bit brighter, and give it more depth in the sample. Okay, so I'm gonna play this one without the sample, without the plugin again. Okay, and let's bring up this Camel. It's same plugin, different settings. Okay, and as you can probably see on the screen. All right, so check this out. And as you see, I got it looping for half of the sample, right? All right, let's turn this plugin on and hear the difference. You know what I'm saying? Got a little flanging going on. Little distortion. The good thing about what I like about Camel Fat 3 and what I started discovering, I've been noticing this all the time, and I've been knowing this, is on different audio, on any type of audio, you just can't limit plugins for what they're used for. Camel Fat 3 plugin is normally used for like drum loops and bringing out guitars and stuff like that, but who's to say you can't use it on a sample? Who's to say you can't use it on a synth? Who's to say you can't use it on pianos, strings, brass? You know what I'm saying? A plugin is a plugin. You can play around with it and get your own signature sound. You know what I'm saying? And on this one, on this sample, all I did is use a drum preset out of the Camel Fat 3. Playing around with it, doing some tweaks here and there on the filtering and bringing out the compressor as far as the stereo the stereo depth of it. Man, hold up, it sounds beautiful, right? Sounds better than the original one. Now I'm gonna play the sample with everything else, okay, and you're gonna understand why. And I'm gonna play the first one that I had played, okay. All right, let's turn that plugin on. Okay, that's cool. That one's on. That one's on. Okay, I'm gonna play these samples with the plugins on and stuff like that. Remember how this one sounded? And let me play this one again for you guys. Remember how this one sounded? You know what I'm saying? It's got that nod, go, that vibe. Okay, now let's bring all the other instruments and you're gonna see why. All right, now this time we're gonna bring in the second sample. You're gonna see what we're talking about. All right, let's bring in the second sample. You remember how that sound? This is how that sample sound right here. Okay, see how it's flanging, very bright, compressed. You know what I'm saying? Very thick, fat. All right, let's bring in the instruments. Purpose. All right, so the whole purpose of, you know what I'm saying, doing two different samples in different instances of whatnot was to have a distinguish between the hook and the verse. You know what I'm saying? Again, the whole purpose was to have a distinguish between the hook and the verse. What you're hearing right now is the verse. Okay, that's the verse part of this track. The next part is going to be the hook. Check it out. And that's the hook right there. Now let's go into the verse. Okay, now let's go back into the hook. And you're gonna understand why I manipulated the samples the way they did. That shit sound good. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, and this track is by far no means mixed down to my specifications. So yeah, that's what that is right there. All right, now let's move on to the next thing. And let's focus on the drums. Okay, now the drums, I got two instances of drums. Okay, I have the Easy Drummer, and I have some drums I found in Contact. You know what I'm saying? Some drum samples I found in Contact in one of my libraries. And pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Let me turn my keyboard on. I guess my keyboard not on, but you know what I'm saying? Some little, you know what I'm saying? Some little knick-knack drums I found in Contact. I kind of put them in there together, mapped them out across the board, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? Kept it trucking. Now, these are, let me go and turn everything off. All right, now I got tape saturation limiting on here or whatnot, but let's focus on these drums. Okay, now to bring out the drums, I added a compressor. In Ableton Live, there's this thing called tube saturation or whatnot. I added that on there, and my favorite drum plugin, this plugin by Softtube. It's called the Track A9 equalizer plugin. This plugin right here does the trick on drums, like acoustic drums. Like it fats it up, real talk. You know what I'm saying? So let's turn off these plugins and check out the drums. Okay, pretty much the same vibe on the verse. You know what I'm saying? Let's switch over to the verse. You know what I'm saying? Same vibe. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Now the reason why I added a compressor on the drums is because just to glue everything together. You see how the drums are just off balance, off even? It's like they're there, but they're not there. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything is wobbly, you know. You know what I'm saying? So let's fatten up the drums, thicken up the drums, and still gel everything together for us, the kick drums and the snares. All right, here we go. And you hear that it adds more punch on the low end, adds it fattening, and gels everything together. Nice. Now let's add a little bit of warm tube, and let's just hear what that does. Okay, now let's play the drums again. All right, now let's add the tube saturation. You hear how it just opens up that snare? It opens up that snare big time. Watch. You know what I'm saying? And all I did was I choose, you know what I'm saying, the 1-2 preset, came in here, drove it a little bit, found the tone that I want, played around with the bias, you know what I'm saying, and bada bing, bada boom. The envelope, I kind of played around with that till I got the sound. The one thing about plugins and getting presets is you don't want to be a preset junkie. You choose a preset and then leave it alone. Get the preset that you like, but then tweak the knobs to what you hear, okay? If you like it, change it to what you hear. Your ear hears differently than what that person programmed that preset for. Keep that in mind. Okay, now on the EQ, pretty much is just the EQ the drums. These sets of drums right here for us to kick in the snares. Clean them up just a little bit. You hear there's a lot of muddiness. Not enough thick low end. And the snares seem like they could be a little bit brighter. And cut out some of that mid range and some muddiness in the drum. So let's hear the difference. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 8. You hear the difference? Snares definitely brighten up. We cleaned out some of the muddiness on the low end and still added a little bit of punch. Let's bypass that. 7, 8, and let's bring it in. 7 and 8. Okay, cool. Now that's the kicks and that's the boom bap. You know what I'm saying? That's the boom bap. All right. Now let's check out these hi-hats. Okay. These hi-hats, I use Easy Drummer on these hi-hats. I use the jazz jazz expansion or whatnot. Something I just got pretty good stuff, man. As you hear. You know what I'm saying? These drums are badass, man. Very badass. Okay, now what I did with this is I had the EQ. Clean up the EQ. You know what I'm saying? Let's turn off these plugins, and as you see, I got I have a compressor, a utility plugin, which I'm gonna get into, but the EQ, turn that off, and you're gonna hear the natural of the drums. Okay. Very low. I got my little groove. As you see, that's my MIDI. No quantization. No quantization, okay? All right. Now, of course, I had to go in here and make some changes on the open mixer. Of course, it comes with a mixer. It doesn't come in with any plugins. You have to blend the sounds to shape the sounds the way you are without using EQ or compression in the Easy Drummer. You just go in there and blend the sounds the way you can. Then you go and use out processing for the stereo file or whatnot. Or you can set the Easy Drummer to go, let's say, the output right here. You know what I'm saying? You select the ones you want, choose those two right there, and you can select those to go to track 1, track 2, track 3, or multi-channel, however you desire. But I got everything going out stereo, so excuse me. We're all Gucci, and I'm trying to keep this video short. So, all right, so we got the drums on there, and I just went in there, just pretty much cleaned up the drums. Took that. You know how a hi-hat, you know what I'm saying? Every time it's like a clap. When the person presses down on the hi-hat pedal, it pushes the air, and you get that here. You hear? You know what I'm saying? Let's clean that up with some EQ. Still hear it a little bit, but definitely the EQs brighten up the hi-hats for sure. Let's take a listen again. And off. Let's turn it back on. Yeah. All right. So with that being said, now one thing I want to play back again, I want you to listen to how the hi-hats go. Okay, what you got is a lot of dynamics going on. You know what I'm saying? You got some loud parts, you got some soft parts. What I did with the compressor, the glue compressor, which comes in Ableton Live, kind of mimics the SSL bus compressor on the SSL console. Okay, what this compressor is going to do is it's going to compress the hi-hats and have them on the same dynamic level range. Okay, and I know what I'm talking about, but for you guys that don't understand, is pretty much you want to even out the sound for the hi-hats. That way they sound all instead of it's gonna even it out like you know what I'm saying. It's pretty much what you're doing is you're squeezing the dynamics where they're on the same RMS level as far as volume. But yet still, you know what I'm saying, you're bringing out nuances in the hi-hats. You know what I'm saying? You're making them a little bit more punchy and a little bit more bright and stuff like that. Check out the difference. 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and take it out. And you notice how the hi-hats just brighten up on the end, on the high end, and also have a little stereo spread. Check this out. You hear that stereo spread? And 5, 6, and check out the difference. And you know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? You have to make subtle changes. Notice there wasn't a big change, but it was a noticeable change. That's what we call in the mixing world subtle change or subtle change or whatnot. And last but not least, I use the utility plugin in Ableton Live to bring up the volume, of course, to the kicks and the boom bap, you know what I'm saying, the kicks and the snares. And I adjusted the stereo image just a little bit with the panorama section on this plugin, just so I could even out the stereo spectrum of the drum kit. Notice the difference. Okay, so you obviously I turned up the volume or whatnot, but definitely wanted you to check out what I did with the stereo spread. Now you see is that it's on the right at about 11 on the pan pot. Okay, let's put that back where it originally is. Now let's move that over to 11. See how now you open up the hi-hats a little bit instead of it sounding like it's all the way over to your left ear. So let's spread it out a little bit more. About 10 is real good, to be honest with you. Yeah, let me go ahead and save that. I like that. Go ahead and save that. Okay, yeah, so, you know what I'm saying, we definitely, you know what I'm saying, you move the stereo spectrum just a little bit in order for it to, you know what I'm saying, have a little bit more spread on the right side of the stereo image of these particular hi-hats. Now, let's put all of this together and, you know, check it out. Very funky, right? You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know what I'm saying? Those processes. Okay, cool. Now, this ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? This shit jamming, but it can jam a little bit more. Okay? Now, we can add it. We can fatten this drum sound up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just hearing the kicks can be the low end. The low end on these drums could be a little bit more fat. We can bring out the hi-hats a little bit more. Now, how are we gonna do that? Tape. You gotta use some tape. On analog drums, boom bap, you know what I'm saying? You gotta use some type of tape saturation. And we're gonna go to the plug-in, the big granddaddy of them all, far as Waves plugins are concerned. When it comes to tape, is Kramer Master Tape. Now, Waves does have another tape saturation plugin that they just came out with, but this is one of the earlier ones, and whatnot. Now, I like this one because it's more geared to, you know, rock and country and stuff like that, far as the tape emulation goes, for a sound, okay, or whatnot. It's more of an older tape emulation plugin, and these drums, however, sound like it's something from the 1975 era or something shit like that, you know what I'm saying? 72, 73, 74, 75, you know what I'm saying? So we want to have that vintage sound. That's what I'm going for, a vintage drum sound, whatnot. So I went in here, as you see, no presets. Okay, cool. I went in here and I pretty much played around with the knobs until I found what I like. That's the thing you got to know how to do. If you don't know how to do it, go choose your presets, go to drums, go to drum kit, tweak the knobs until you hear it. For me, I just went in here and tweaked, you know what I'm saying? And this was the results. Now you notice how those kicks just jump out at you. That snare, that drumstick just slapping you across the face, you know what I'm saying? Check it, listen. It's like you right there standing next to the drum kit. That's what I'm talking about. That's the sound that you producers need to start gearing up to. You know what I'm saying? You got to step out the box, quit making the beat, and start seeing the beat. What I saw in this beat was I wanted you to hear like you was right next to the drums. Now, of course, you see right here, I'm peeking in the yellow a little bit in 0.75, and I want to make this a 25-minute segment. But I'm peeking in the yellow at 0.75. What we do, just add a limiter on there. I'm not driving the limiter, but I have it set at 0. I have my release real fast. I took it off of auto. It's not on auto, so I have it. You know, I can adjust the release, have it set at release, because I want that attack to be. I want the release off the limiter to be real quick. I'm not driving. All the limiter is doing is just not letting it go in the red or peaking, or whatnot. And it also smoothens out the drums. Notice the difference. See how they punch you hard? Now let's smooth this out with the limiter. Okay, now let's bring in the sample and you're gonna see why. And 5, 6, 7, and 8, and okay, I messed that up. Okay, I messed that up clearly. Whatnot. Here you go. Okay, so you get a grasp of how that all goes together. Now, the last part I did in this track was I added the instruments, and I'm not a keyboard player, I'm not a guitarist or anything like that, but definitely you got to have your bass, and you got to have instruments that complements. Again, let me say that again. You have to have instrument that complements the sample, and this is pretty much what I have here. Okay, everything is not mixed down, just to let you know, but this is the bass. Okay, that's the bass, acoustic bass or whatnot. To bring that bass out, what I did was you have the bass, and I got like a cabinet plug in. Now this is just the bass instrument plug in. Now what I did was I added the cabinet. If you know anything about guitars and stuff like that, a cabinet is pretty much a speaker. It's a speaker setup. I got two, my speaker setup that I set up with the Ableton Live plugin was two 12-inch woofers or speakers with a microphone that's off axis. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much what that means is the microphone is close to the speakers, but it's not in front, right in front of the cone. It's off axis. Using dynamic microphones, and you could change it from condenser or dynamic microphones. And of course, I got a dual output instead of mono, just to give it a little bit more fatness. And I got my 100, full effect of the plug-in. So here's what it sounds with mono and dual. You see how it opens up the bass, gives it more of a stereo sound. Okay, and I just added an amp, the amp plug-in from Ableton Live, chose the bass setting, and did a little tweaks right there, and this is what we got. And again, I got it on dual. See how it makes the bass sound a little dirty. See how that's how clean that bass is. See how dirty the bass sounds now? It's one thing you got to remember when you're dealing with samples and stuff like that. These tracks are going to come and you got to think about the sample. The sample sounds dirty, so you want your bass to sound dirty, right? Okay, cool. Now, the next thing I added was Mellotron strings, but Mellotron strings, just to open up the sample and give it a little bit more complimentary, like, you know what I'm saying? This is the Mellotron right here. And just went in there, EQ'd it, took out some of that mid-range, and as you see on this plug-in, take that out. Yes, sir. Sawtooth active equalizer. Yeah, very, very vintage sounding EQ. Okay, the next thing I did was I added some Rhodes, electric piano Rhodes. This is what I call, you know what I'm saying, going in the candy store and filling up your bag. You know what I'm saying? It just adds to the overall sound. Nothing special on that, just kept it stock. Okay, the next thing I did was jazz guitar. Now this jazz guitar I added in there, and I'm gonna take that out. Okay, cool. Now what I did was, again, same process with the what I did on the bass. You got your regular jazz guitar. Now I just added a clean amp. Again, from Ableton Live, the clean setting, made some tweaks. Give it that little dirty, gritty sound, and then put it through a cabinet. You know what I'm saying? This time I used a 10 speaker 4x10 speaker setup with it on axis. You know what I'm saying? With the microphone, the condenser microphone where it says near, it's on axis right there in front of the cone, and then using the mono. Cause the dual, no difference really. So bring everything together. Let's bring in the strings and the bass. 7, 8, 8. Oh. And then add everything else. That's it. So I hope y'all like the video tutorial right there. I'm gonna try to do more of these right here. I know there's a lot of guys out there that want to take their beats to the next level. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I do. It's not a thumbprint. That's not my signature or whatnot, but it's all about getting the sound and getting the vision. You got to work around. The most important thing is the sample. It's not the drums. It's not the complementary instruments that are added in there. It's the sample. Get the sample sounding right, and then everything else is going to fall into place. This is your boy Big Rich, and we out.